Hello and welcome to today's mini tutorial. My name is Charlene Martoni and I am the Outreach Librarian for the Social Sciences at Georgia State University. This video was made in collaboration with Dr. Laura Hastings, Professor of Political Science. Today we are going to learn how to get started on a research journey by first developing a search strategy and then using our strategy to explore the library's resources through our Discover tool. The Discover tool is a great place to start your research because it explores multiple library resources all within one search. Let's first take some time to develop a search strategy around a hypothetical research question. Now, as we move forward with this tutorial, please keep in mind that Professor Hastings and I chose a sensitive subject for this demonstration so that I could really show how to deconstruct a complicated research question. Suppose you are wondering whether the death of George Floyd had an impact on police violence. At first glance, the main concepts in this research question can be identified as the death of George Floyd and police violence. But there is more to our research question than meets the eye. For our search strategy, we are going to contemplate the layers of our research question so that we can identify targeted keywords relating to these two concepts. We can then enter these alternative keywords and terms into most databases to try to generate a list of resources relevant to our research need. Let's contemplate other ways to describe our first concept, the death of George Floyd. When we say death in this sense, we mean a specific type of death. We're not talking about people passing away due to natural causes or health-related issues. In this case, we can describe the type of death that we're talking about with terms like murder or killing. And in this case, we are talking about a specific population that is affected by this type of death. We can use many different terms to describe this population. For example, one might use the term African American or African American men. But for our research, we want to be more inclusive of people who might not specifically be of African descent or be American citizens. So the term that we're going to use is Black men. Now we can adjust this in the future if we find that this term is causing our search results to be too broad. Incorporating the terms murder and Black men into our search strategy would help a database to understand these layers to our research question. Now, let's consider our other concept, police violence. This term can mean both violence perpetrated by police or violence committed toward police. For our research, we want to be more specific and choose terms that represent violence perpetrated by police. Other people might describe police violence using terms like police brutality or excessive force. And if we're asking about whether an event impacted police violence, we can use a term like police reform. Here's a pro tip. If you are at a loss for words, try consulting a thesaurus to explore synonyms and antonyms relating to your concepts. Now that we have brainstormed our associated terminology, we are going to navigate to the library's main webpage. The Discover Search tool is located front and center, but we're going to click into the Advanced Discover Search, which will give us a bit more control over our search. Here, you will notice 3 empty text boxes with the option of adding additional boxes. This is where we will enter keywords relating to each of our concepts. You will also notice that the text boxes are linked together on the left-hand side by drop-down menus with options containing the words and, or, and not. These are called Boolean operators, and we use them to tell the database how specific we want our search results to be. For example, if we choose the and option, we are telling the database that we want every single record in our search results to contain both concept A and concept B. This is very specific. Alternatively, selecting the word or would tell the database that we want records to show up in our search results, whether they contain either of these terms, on their own or together. This is broader. And if we choose the word not, we are telling the database to exclude records with a specific term. To the right side of your screen, you will notice that we also have the option to select from drop-down menus to indicate to the database whether a specific concept would be a resource's author or title or subject, etc. This can be useful when searching for primary sources, for example, because you can designate a person's name as the author of a resource you are seeking. Now, let's enter keywords for each concept into the boxes one by one. I'm going to use the terms murder and George Floyd and black men for our first concept. Notice that I am connecting the terms using the Boolean operator and. In doing so, I am telling the database that I want my results to include the terms murder and the name George Floyd and the term black men. Also notice that I am using quotation marks to indicate to the database that I want results with the full name George Floyd and not simply results featuring the name George or the name Floyd. I am doing the same with the compound term black men. In our next box, I am going to enter the terms police brutality or excessive force or police reform. By using or as my Boolean operator here, I am telling the database that I want results that include any of these representations of our concept of police violence. Also notice my use of an asterisk after police reform. The asterisk indicates to the database that I would like any extended version of the term reform, like reforming or reformation, for example. Now I am going to connect our two concept boxes with the and Boolean operator, indicating that I would like my results to be relevant to both of these concepts. Scrolling down, you will also see that you have several options to limit your search results. Since we're just starting our research journey, we're not going to limit our results just yet. So now let's go ahead and click search. Here you can see that our results have come back with quite a few records. Let's scroll through the first page of results to scan the titles. Okay, now I'm going to tell the database that I would like to limit my results to only include scholarly material. If we wanted to, we could limit our results according to date, location, etc. Since George Floyd's death occurred in the United States of America, I am going to limit my results to this region by selecting United States under the drop-down menu for geography. And now we can see that my record number has decreased. This is good because it means that my results have become more specific to my research need. Let's go ahead and click the link for one of our records. You can see that a resources record gives you a lot of information, which you can use to determine whether the resource is indeed relevant to your research need. For example, I'm now scanning the abstract to this resource to get a sense of its contents. If I determine that this resource sounds relevant, I can then access the resource by clicking either the PDF link, the full text link, or the Find It at GSU link, located on the left-hand side. After reviewing the resource, if I do find it to be relevant, I can use its record to explore other resources like it. For example, clicking an author's name when linked in a resource's record will bring you to a list of other resources created by that individual if available. If you scroll down, you'll also find subject terms relating to the content of the resource, which we may want to incorporate into our search strategy in the future. We can also click on the linked subject terms to bring us to a list of records for resources relating to these subjects. We can also go into our resource itself to locate references in a bibliography section or in its footnotes. These resources may be relevant to our search as well, and we can enter their titles and authors and publication dates into the Discover search or the Catalog search to see if we have records for these items too. And finally, to cite our resource, we can again return to its record and, on the right-hand side, find various ways to cite it. Be mindful, however, that these citations are generated electronically, and so they may contain errors. You should consult a citation guide to ensure that you're properly citing your resources. One last thing, I want to bring your attention to our list of databases. Once you use the Discover tool to narrow or expand your search strategy, I encourage you to use your search strategy in an individual database within your subject area to help you find more information relevant to your search. And that's it. Thank you for learning with me. If you'd like some one-on-one assistance with your search strategy, please reach out via email.